Hello. Today we are going to discuss two topics. We have first the uniform arithmetic gradient, and the second is the depreciation using the straight line method. What is a uniform arithmetic gradient? So here we have a simple definition of what a gradient series is. A gradient series is a series of annual payments in which each payment is greater than or less than the previous one by a constant amount J. And maintenance and repair expenses on a specific equipment or property may increase by a relatively constant amount each period, and this is known as the uniform arithmetic gradient. And suppose that the maintenance expense on a certain machine is 1,000 pesos at the end of the first year and increasing at a constant rate of 500 pesos each year for the next 4 years. So we have now this cash flow diagram in which we have here at year 0 we have now this principal amount P, and in year 1 we have now this 1,000 pesos, 1,500 pesos in year 2, 2,000 pesos in year 3, 2,500 pesos in year 4, and finally we have this 3,000 pesos in year 5. So as you can observe, there is no uniform annual payments based on this cash flow diagram, since each year after the first year the maintenance fee is increasing by an amount of 500 pesos. So here we can apply this uniform arithmetic gradient in this case, in which for our first figure here on the right side of the screen, we have now this uniform annuity from year 1 until the 5th year. Our annuity value here is just simply equal to 1,000 because based on this cash flow diagram, we have this 1,000 pesos during the first year. So you may ask what happened to these differences in amount from the second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year. So as you can observe, there's a difference of 500 pesos between year 2 and year 1, 1,000 pesos between year 3 and year 1, and 1,500 between year 4 and year 1, and finally a difference of 2,000 pesos between the fifth year and the first year. So we have now this cash flow diagram below, in which this one will compensate the differences in amount between this first year until the final year of 5 years. So as you can see in our first year here, it is 0. Our gradient is 0 because we make this 1,000 pesos as our reference amount in this cash flow diagram here, so that we could have an annual annuity until the final year of 5 years. So that is why our gradient here during the first year is just simply equal to 0, because this 1,000 pesos here is just the same amount of annuity here in year 1 in this figure, which is still 1,000 pesos. So as you can see in our year 2, we have this gradient J, a single gradient, because the difference between this 1,500 and this 1,000 is just simply 500, and our gradient here is just equal to 500. So that is why it is just a single gradient. So for the third year, we have this 2 times the gradient. Why? Because the difference here is simply 2,000 minus 1,000 is 1,000. So we need to multiply this 500 by 2 to make it 1,000. So that is why this is 2J, and same also for the fourth year and the fifth year. So this cash flow diagram on the left side on your screen is just simply equal now to the sum of the principal amount considering this annuity, uniform annuity here, denoted by this P subscript A, plus the principal amount considering the gradient, denoted by this P subscript J. So in formula, we have now this P is equal now to the sum of our PA plus the PJ. where our PA here is just simply equal now to the annuity times this designation of P given A at I% and in years. Or simply, we just consider this one as our case number one, which is we call this one in our previous lecture as the papa. Okay, so this PA is just simply equal now to this A times this P given A, I% and N years. Okay, so how about for our P subscript J? So the formula for this is just equal now to the gradient itself times this designation of your P given J at I% in N years, in which our J here is just simply the uniform gradient amount, which is equal now to 500 pesos. Proceeding, so we have now this formula for our PA, which is equal now to A times the quantity here 1 plus I raised to the n minus 1 all over 1 plus I raised to the n times I. In this is just simply our case number 1 or our papa. And secondly, our P sub j is just equal now to this formula of the ratio of j over the I times this quantity 1 plus I raised to the n minus 1 all over I minus n times this quantity 1 over 1 plus I raised to the n. Okay? Since our P is just equal now to the sum of PA plus PJ, so therefore we can simplify this one into this formula. Okay? Our P is just equal now to the sum of PA plus PJ is equal now to this one, A times this quantity plus this PJ, which is equal now to this J over I times this quantity here and here. So proceeding now with this formula on how to use this formula in our simple problem application. So I will give you a sample problem number 1. An engineer is planning for a 15-year retirement. In order to supplement his pension and offset the anticipated effects of inflation, he intends to withdraw 5,000 pesos at the end of the first year and to increase the withdrawal by 1,000 pesos at the end of each successive year. How much money must the engineer have in his savings account at the start of his retirement if money earns 6% per year and it is compounded annually? So here we have now this approach in solving this problem. So first, we need to identify the given parameters, and in this case, we have here our n, which is equal now to this 15 years. And another given is we have this 5,000 pesos at the end of the first year and to increase the withdrawal by 1,000 at the end of each successive year. So therefore, our annuity here is just simply equal now to this 5,000. Okay? And our uniform gradient, since the withdrawal increases by an amount of 1,000 pesos at the end of each successive year, so therefore we can say that our gradient is just simply equal now to this 1,000 pesos. Okay? So we have also here the 6% as our I. So the requirement here is how much money must the engineer have in his savings account. So this is referring actually to the variable P. So proceeding, we have now these given parameters here. Okay, N is 15 years, A is 5,000, which is this amount. The gradient J is just 1,000. Since the withdrawal, okay, the withdrawal was increased by 1,000 pesos, no, at the end of each successive year. So that's why J is just 1,000 pesos, and our I is 6%. So we have here a simple diagram for this. Okay, so from 0 we have 1, 2, 3 until we have this n equal now to 15 years. Okay? So the engineer withdraws 5,000, no, during the first year, and then he increases the withdrawal by 1,000 pesos afterwards. Okay? So 5,000, and then we have 6,000, 7,000, 8, 9, until the 15 year, in which our P is just equal now to 19,000. So what we are going to determine here is our value of P, which is now referring to this, how much money must the engineer have in his savings account at the start, okay? At the start of his retirement, meaning starting from year 0, in which we are going to determine our value of P, okay? So we can apply now the formula, actually, no, for this one, in which our P is just the sum of our PA plus the PJ, in which this is just equal now to this A, the annuity, times the quantity 1 plus I raised to the n minus 1 over 1 plus I raised to the n times I, plus this quantity here, J over I, times this quantity 1 plus I raised to the n minus 1 over I minus n, times this one over 1 plus I raised to the n. Okay? So A is given, our I is given, n also, and the J. So actually we can directly substitute all those given parameters here, in which we have now this substitution, 5,000 for our A, our I is 6%, so that's why 1.06 raised to the 15, since our N is 15, and we have here 1.06 also to the 15 times I. So just a merely substitution of all those values from this formula, in which we can directly get the value of our P, which is just simply equal now to 106,116 pesos. So this will be now our answer for this given problem. Okay? So you just have to remember this formula, and you can actually solve, no, using this uniform arithmetic gradient in getting the principal amount P from year 0. Okay? So proceeding with our next problem, we have now this problem number 2. Calculate the equivalent annual payment of the following obligations at 20% interest rate. Okay? So we have now the end of year 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the payments are for year 1, 8,000. We have year 2, 7,000. Year 3, 6,000. And year 4, we have 5,000. So as you can observe, no, our cash flow diagram is the opposite of our example problem number 1. Since during the first year, we have 8,000. But during the second year, it is decreasing, no? It becomes 7,000, until the third year 6,000, and the fourth year 5,000. So question is how to deal this one. How we are going to deal with this kind of problem. So our approach for this is, again, we are going to make a cash flow diagram of the problem. So we have now this simple cash flow diagram. From the first year, we have 8,000, second year 7,000, the third year 6,000, and the fourth year 5,000. Okay, so the question is the formula of our P, which is equal now to PA plus PG, will it apply here? Will it applies here in this problem? So what do you think? Actually, that formula still applies, but the sign is just, we use the opposite sign, no? We are not using the plus sign, since this is decreasing. So if we make our annuity A equals to 8,000, so our value is decreasing. That's why we are going to use the negative sign, no? So meaning our P is just simply equal now to PA minus the PJ. So proceeding, we have now this first cash flow diagram, no? So we have the annuity A here, in which in this case, this A is just simply equal now to 8,000 until the second, third, and the final year, the fourth year. So here, since it is decreasing, so 8 minus 7,000 is 1,000. So you can expect, no, that during the first year for our arithmetic gradient, our J is just simply equal again to 0. Okay? And then for the second year is just simply equal now to 1,000 since the difference is 1,000. So we will denote our J here as equal now to 1,000 pesos here, in which during the first year we have 0 since our first year here is A is just simply equal now to 8,000. So therefore our value of the gradient here is 0. Okay. During the second year, since it is 7,000 pesos rather, so we have a difference of 1,000 between the second year and the first year. But take note, since this is decreasing, so our direction for this gradient here is below this line, going downward. Okay. So since our J is 1,000, so this is going downward here, a single J. How about the during the third year? So the difference is 2008 minus 6, 2000. So therefore, we need to multiply this J by 2 to make it 2000. So that's why this is 2J until the fourth year, the difference is 3000. So this n minus 1 times J is just specifically equal now to 3J. Okay. So take note, we have a negative sign here, indicating that this is minus because the values here were decreasing from the very first year until the fourth year. So we can still apply the formula in getting our PA, and the same formula also of getting our PJ, but the sign convention just changed to this negative sign. Okay. So proceeding, our P is just simply is the difference of our PA minus this PG here. Okay. So substituting values to the formula, so we can have now this value of P equal now to 17,411 pesos. Okay. So we are going to calculate, no, the equivalent annual payment A using this PAPA. Actually, we are getting the value B here, but the question said that we are going to calculate the equivalent annual payment, no? So we are going to get the value of our A, which is equal now all throughout from the very first year until the fourth year. Take note the equivalent annual payment. So in this case, we will use now the value of our P here to get the equivalent annual payment, no? So we are going to use the case number 1, in which in our previous discussion we denote this one as PAPA. Okay. So the formula for this is just simply equal now to annuity, in which this A is just the equivalent annual payment here, and this is what we are looking for, times this 1 plus I raised to the n minus 1 all over 1 plus I raised to the n times I. Okay, substituting this value of P and this I and N, we can actually get the equivalent annual payment of A. Okay, so we have here this 17,411 as our P, and then we have this 20% I, and our N is 4 years. So actually we can get now the value of our equivalent annual payment, which is equal now to 6,726 pesos. And this will be now our answer for the second sample problem. Okay. So now we are done with this uniform arithmetic gradient. So we will proceed now to the second topic. No, our second topic is the depreciation. So by definition, depreciation is the decrease in the value of physical property with the passage of time. Okay. Sometimes also depreciation is defined as a way of accounting for the cost of an asset when income is determined for tax purposes, no? And the cost, including maybe any delivery or installation charges, is treated as a prepayment for future services. And actually, depreciation consists in amortizing this prepayment over the period of use of the asset. No, example is some machines, some equipments, but we just take this simple definition, no, as this decrease, no, in the value of a physical property with the passage of time as our depreciation. So we have now this value. So what is the definition of value? Okay. So is the present worth of all future profits that are to be received through ownership of a particular property. And this is in a commercial sense, no? This definition is for a commercial sense in which this value is the present worth of all future profits. Okay. And we have now this market value. It is the amount which a willing buyer will pay to a willing seller for the property where each has equal advantage and is under no compulsion to buy or sell. Okay. So again, we have another definition, utility value. This is what the property is worth to the owner as an operating unit. And then we have this fair value, which is the value usually determined by a disinterested third party in order to establish a price that is fair to both seller and buyer. So take note from the word itself, no, fair value. So it is fair, no, to both seller and the buyer. So another critical definition for depreciation is the book value. So you may ask, what is a book value? So we are actually using this, no, in solving problems relating to depreciation. We are going to get the book value, and actually this is denoted, no, by this variable c, uh, c subscript n, since our n is just the number of years, no, in which the equipment or material is being utilized. And the book value is sometimes called as depreciated book value. And it is also the worth of a property as shown in the accounting records of an enterprise. Okay. So another definition is the salvage value, and it is sometimes called as resale value. And it is also the price that can be obtained from the sale of the property after it has been used. Okay, so maybe after its useful life, so the owner or the company will sell that equipment or material, and then we can determine the salvage value, no, of that material after its useful life. Okay, so another definition is the scrap value. Scrap value is the amount the property would sell for if disposed of as a junk. Okay, so we have now these definitions, no, for the depreciation, and now we will proceed now to the purpose of this depreciation. So the purpose of this is first to provide for the recovery of capital which has been invested in physical property. Our second is to enable the cost of depreciation to be charged to the cost of producing products or services that results from the use of the property. Okay, so these are just the two purposes, no, of the depreciation, no. So to provide the recovery of capital if necessary, you have to recover, and then to enable the cost of depreciation to be charged, no, to the cost of producing product or services that results from the use of the property. And we have now these types of depreciation. First, we have now this normal depreciation, and under this normal depreciation, we have now this physical depreciation. So, by definition, this physical depreciation is due to the lessening of the physical ability of a property to produce results. So, we can say that this is related also now to the efficiency of the machine, no? In which uh, as the time goes by, and the performance, no, and the efficiency of the machine will also decrease as time passes by. Okay, so we have also now the simple definition for physical depreciation, as the common causes are the wear and deterioration, no, of the equipment or machine. So this is for the physical depreciation. So how about for the functional depreciation? So as a definition for this functional depreciation, this is due to the lessening in the demand for the function which the property was designed to render. Okay, so kindly take note of this definition. No? This is now the lessening or the decrease in the demand for the function which the property was designed to render. No? So example of this is maybe we have now this printer. A common example for this, we have now this laser printer, no, as you can see in some shops. So during the printing and the rendering, so maybe if the quality is low, so maybe you may relate that one out to the listening in the demand for the function which the property was designed to render, which is a quality printing. Okay, so proceeding, another definition is we have here the common causes are inadequacy, changes in styles, the population center shift, the saturation of markets, or more efficient machines are produced. So this is true, no? Since we are on the technology, what we call that one now, as we are going into this technological advancement. So that is why, no, this may be a true and real reason, no, saturation markets or more efficient machines are produced. Just like for our cell phones, no? If you can observe, maybe for a matter of weeks or a week, or maybe a matter of day or days, another high technology cell phone is being produced by other private companies, no? We go into this 3G, 4G, 5G. So in just a matter of days or a day or even a weeks, no? So that is why this is referring now to this more efficient machines are produced, no, in a matter of days or weeks. So second, since we have the first is the normal depreciation, our second depreciation type is the depreciation due to changes in price levels. Okay. So almost impossible to predict and not considered in economic studies. So by definition, no, it is almost impossible to predict for this depreciation due to changes in price levels, and mostly it is not considered in economic studies. And we have the third type is the depletion. Actually, this depletion refers now to the decrease in the value of the property due to the gradual extraction of its content. So from the word itself, no, depletion. So we have now this gradual extraction, no, the decrease in the value of the property due to the gradual extraction of its content. Okay, so the decrease in value or this depletion itself. So we have now this physical and economic life, no, for this depreciation. So for the physical life, so by definition, we have now this definition here is the length of time during which it is capable of performing the function for which it was designed and manufactured. Okay. And how about for the economic life? By definition, is the length of time during which the property may be operated at a profit. Take note, economic life is the length of time during which the property may be operated at a profit. Okay? So when the machine is no longer operated for a profit, meaning uh, the machine, no, or the equipment is not performing to what it was designed for, so meaning this economic life is no longer existing for this machine or equipment. So when it is operated at a profit, so it is no, it is still having a economic life. Okay, so we have now this requirement no for this depreciation methods. First, it should be simple as soon as possible. No, it should be simple as simply as it is. Second, it should recover a capital. So I think no, for all businesses or a business, you should consider no na not to lose your capital. If possible, you have to gain or even recover your capital for your business to flourish. Okay. So we have here the book value will be reasonably close to the market value at any time. Okay. And then we have here the method should be accepted by the Bureau of Internal Revenue or our BIR. And these are just four simple requirements for our depreciation method. Take note of this. And I know that as we go further in our topics, no, in our subject engineering economy, you can maybe you can fully understand what is the manifestation or what these requirements imply to some business or businesses, no. So better now, we are going to proceed now for our depreciation method so that you can fully understand what does these requirements really mean, no, for the business. So we have now these depreciation methods. We have the symbols used in depreciation methods. L as our useful life of the property in the years. Our C sub O, the original cost. The CL, the value at the end of the life. And this is just the scrap value including gain or loss due to removal. And our small d is the annual cost of depreciation. The C sub N, as what I've said, no? This is now the book value at the end of n years, and our D sub N is the total depreciation, no? Up to age n years. So kindly familiarize the symbols. This L as our useful life, the CO is the original cost, the CL is the value or the scrap value. When you are referring to small d, this is the annual cost of depreciation. For this capital D sub n is the total depreciation up to age n years, and our CN is just the book value at the end of n years. So we are now going to the straight line method, which is now our first depreciation method. Okay. So by definition, straight line method, the method assumes that the loss in value is directly proportional to the age of the property. And we have now this following formulas here. Okay. So small d is just simply equal now to the ratio of your C sub O minus C sub L over the useful life L. This is our first formula. So our small d here is just the annual depreciation. Our capital D subscript N is our total depreciation at the age n years, which is just equal now to n times the small d, as you can observe. You just multiply the small d by n so you can get the capital D sub n. or in formula, N times this one, CO minus CL or all over L rather. And our book value at the age in years just simply the difference of our original cost CO minus the capital D sub N, which is our depreciation during the N years. Okay. Actually, this formula, we always use this formula, no, in all depreciation methods. Okay, so we have now here another simple note, no, for our difference of C sub O minus C sub L. This is just also referring now to the adjusted cost, no. If you are going to look into other references, no, regarding our subject engineering economy. And we have also this annual rate of depreciation when we are going to use the straight line method, which is denoted by this R subscript D equal now to 100 divided by this useful life L. Okay, so try to remember this one. Okay, so proceeding, no, we go into the problem application. So we have now the sample problem number 3. Okay, so an electronic balance costs 90,000 pesos and has an estimated salvage value of 8,000 pesos at the end of its 10 years lifetime. What would be the book value? So this book value is our C sub N after 3 years. So meaning this is C sub script 3 using the straight line method in solving the depreciation. So based on this one, we have now this given parameters, no, for this 10 years lifetime. So meaning this is our useful life L. Okay, and we have also now this 90,000. So since this is not the value of our electronic balance, so this is our original cost, no, and we denote this one as C sub O, which is equal now to 90,000. And also we have now this salvage value of 8,000 pesos. So this is now our C sub L. Okay, the salvage value or the scrap value, and we are going to determine, no, the book value after 3 years. So we are going to determine the C subscript 3. Okay, so as our approach, no, for this problem, we have now this given parameters. L is 10 years, C sub D, no, C sub O rather is just 90,000 pesos here, which is the original cost. The N is 3 years here. The CL or the scrap or the salvage value is just simply equal now to 8,000, and our C sub 3, which is our book value after 3 years, in which it is our unknown. So what we are going to use for this, no, in getting this C subscript 3. Okay, so first we have now this simple formula for calculating the C sub N, which is equal now to C sub O minus capital D sub N. Okay, so proceeding, if we are going to substitute our N and our C sub O and our D sub N, so actually we have here our C sub 3 equal now to C subscript O minus our N of C subscript 3. And this is our book value after 3 years. Okay, so first we need to determine, since C sub O is given 90,000, so we need to determine now this D sub 3. So by formula, our D sub N is just the product of our small n times the small d, or n times this C sub O minus C sub L, or all over L. So actually we can substitute the n here. So we have now this D sub 3 is equal now to our n, which is 3 times our C sub O minus C sub L all over L, and this is our depreciation after 3 years. Okay, so substituting, we can proceed now directly, no, to solve for this total depreciation after 3 years for this D sub 3. So we have now this 3 as our N, our C sub O, the original cost is 90,000 minus the salvage value of 8,000 all over L, which is 10. So we can get now the value of our total depreciation after 3 years, which is equal now to 24,600 pesos. So we are not yet done, no? So we are going to solve for the book value after 3 years. So we have now this C subscript 3. So by formula, our C subscript 3 is just our original cost, which is 90,000, and this is our C sub O minus the D sub 3, which is equal now to 24,600. So we can solve now our book value after 3 years, which is denoted by this C subscript 3, which is equal now to 65,400 pesos. And this will be now our answer for this problem. This is now the book value after 3 years. Okay. Again, we are going to proceed now for another sample problem. We have here this new machine costs 160,000 pesos, has a useful life of 10 years and can be sold for 15,000 at the end of its useful life. And it is expected that 5,000 pesos will be spent to dismantle and remove the machine at the end of its useful life. So question is, determine using the straight line depreciation the schedule for this machine. Okay. So determine the straight line depreciation schedule. So we are going to make a depreciation schedule for this machine. Okay. So here our approach will be, so we need to determine now the depreciation schedule using the straight line method. So probably we are going to calculate first now before we are going to make a table now for this depreciation schedule. So first we are going to calculate now the rate of depreciation. So our rate of depreciation is just simply equal now to 100 over L. Okay. So we have here R sub D is equal now to 100 over L, in which our L is just simply equal now to this useful life of 10 years. So 100 divided by 10 is just simply equal now to 10% as our rate of depreciation. Okay. And then after that, we are going to calculate the adjusted cost now, which is the difference of our CO minus CL. So we have now this adjusted cost equal now to, so this is 160,000, referring now to the cost of our new machine minus this 15,000, the difference of this 15,000 minus this 5,000, in which this amount will be spent no to dismantle and remove the machine, no. So actually this is now our uh, value after its useful life, no, which can be sold no at 15,000 pesos at the end of its useful life, but it is expected that an amount of 5,000 will be spent to dismantle and remove the machine, no, at the end of its useful life. So that is why we have now this 15 minus this 5,000 pesos here. So we have now this adjusted cost equal now to 150,000 pesos. Okay. So what we're going to do next is do not look first into this table, no. I'm just putting it here, no, for clarity, but we need to calculate first now the values here on the right side of your screen. Okay, so we are going to calculate the annual depreciation, which is our small d. So our small d is just equal now to C sub O minus C sub L or over L. Okay, so since our adjusted value, which is this 150,000, so we are going to divide that one with our useful life L, which is 10. So we can get now our annual depreciation D equal now to 15,000. So that is why we have here during the first year, we have now this 15,000. Okay. So later, we will proceed with this table after calculating all these values on the right side of your screen. So after that, we are going to calculate the depreciation at the age 1 year. So at the age 1 year, so we have now this capital D sub 1 is equal now, since our D sub n is equal now to our n times small d. So since our consideration is for the first year, so we replace n equals to 1. So this n also equal to 1. So 1 times this small d, which is 15,000. So we can get now the value of our D sub 1 equals to 15,000 pesos, no? So here, as you can observe, no, we have a small d on this second column. On the third column, this capital D sub n, which is referring now to our value here. Our D sub n is just equal now to D sub 1 for the first year, which have 15,000. And afterwards, we are going to calculate the book value at the age of 1 year. So this is denoted by our C sub n, which is, in this case, we are using C sub 1. So for our C sub 1 is just the difference of our original cost minus this D sub 1 here. So 160,000 minus this 15,000 pesos. Okay. So we have now our book value during the first year, C sub 1 equal now to this 145,000 pesos. So as you can see it here, no, on the fourth column. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight, no, these values here during the first year. So our small d is 15,000, which is here. Our total depreciation denoted by this d sub n, in which, since we are considering first year, so d sub 1, capital D sub 1, so we have here 15,000 pesos, which is this amount here. And for our book value at the age of 1 year, denoted by this C sub n, so since n is equal to 1, so we are using C sub 1. So that's why C sub 1 is 145,000 here, okay? So the same thing you will do, no, for the second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, until the 10th year. The same procedure as what we did for the first year. So you can get all these values here, okay? So, for example, if you're going to proceed for the second year, no, so more or less, if you are going to calculate the annual depreciation, so this is just equal now to the CO minus CL or over L. So probably our D here all throughout this first year until the 10th year is just equal now to 15,000. Okay, since they are the only involved, no, this CO minus CL or over the useful life L. Okay, so more or less these are uniform all throughout here, but it differs only for our DN and our CN. So example for our second year, how we get this DN is just again, we use n equals to 2 if we are going to consider year 2. So we replace this n equals to 2, 2 times D, 2 times 15 is just 30,000. So that is why this is 30,000 here. And also for our book value CN, so using this formula, so CO minus D, we replace this D1 as D2 since we are on the second year. So our D2 is 30,000. So 160,000 minus 30,000 is just equal now to this 130,000 pesos rather. Okay, so the same procedure you will do, no, for the succeeding years, but you only need to consider that this value of n varies, no, in every year. So if you are going to consider year 3, so n is 3 until the 10th year, your n is 10. Okay, so I think that would be it, no, for this day, and I hope you have a clear grasp, no, of these topics. The uniform arithmetic gradient and this straight line depreciation method. And for our next lecture, we are going to proceed to another depreciation methods in the future. So again, these are my references for this lecture. I'm using Santa Maria Hipolito, and also of Mandawi Joel and Capote Roger. And again, thank you very much for watching and have a great day ahead of us. God bless and keep safe.